a bouse, like a bouse. So, but yeah. So today's positivity talk is about mindfulness and the effect. Yes, all the hype. Woo! Mindfulness and the effect of internal positivity. So, thank you guys again. Thank everybody who's here, who came to hang out since the beginning of it, or who might be showing up now, or who are just kind of tuning in and checking it out. The purpose of these talks is really just to, we've done a few of them. We've done it now for a couple months every Tuesday, and we want to be able to bring positivity not just to people here, people who are here right now, but also to Twitch, to our communities, to friends and family members, to anybody who you think can use a little bit more positivity in their life. And so these talks are meant to be able to bring that to someone. And even if it's just something to where, if you're watching this either via Twitch now, or from the highlights, or from YouTube, and you're thinking, hey, by the way, this might be able to help someone, even if it's just one person that's out there that can get some help from this, and can live their life a little bit more positively, then hey, you know what? I'm cool with it. That's my thought with this, is just to try and bring some of that positivity to everybody, into the world, and to this community. So you can find me at, for those of you again watching this on highlight reels, you can find me at Rufio at twitch.tv/Rufio, or actually you can just go to Rufio.com. That's courtesy of my boy Nobody's. Big shout out to him. Rufio.com. That's RUFIOO and then 3H's.com. So again, mindfulness and the effect of internal positivity, right? So most of you in here, think about your morning routine that you did today. Okay. Think about how the alarm went off, how you maybe hit snooze, or maybe you didn't. Maybe you got up right at the very first alarm that you did. You brushed your teeth. You did your hair. Maybe some of you took showers. Maybe some of you didn't. It's okay. I'm not judging. I'm not here to judge. You grabbed your breakfast. You head out the door. You went to school. You went to work. Think about this. For those of you who are going through this, do you remember a lot about what you did on your morning routine? Like, do you remember which side of your mouth you started with whenever you brushed? Do you remember the morning drive? Do you remember every single routine? Play games, right, TSG? Yeah. Now, even that, like, let's say that you hopped on and started immediately playing games. You went ahead and started playing that, and do you remember what games, like how the games, each one of them went? Hey, Richie, welcome. We're doing a little positivity talk. Welcome. Happy to have you here in the community. And so, Richie, thank you for the follow. Appreciate that. Welcome to the community, Richie. And also, guys, if you notice that little alert change too, someone needs to let Newfie Nate know about that one. We used his face as the routine equals wake up Newfie Nate. Nemo, did you see the alert though? It's Newfie's face. How's it going today, Richie? So whenever you're going through there, just think about that. Like, whenever you're going through there and you're taking your drive, do you even remember what cars you passed? Do you remember like the stoplights that you hit? Do you remember, do you remember a whole lot of that, even routine, right? That right there, and it's okay if you don't, because your brain does this to save space and energy to use throughout the day. So, like, we've been doing this for literally generations. It's things that we just naturally do because we have a finite amount of concentration. We have a finite amount of energy that we have throughout the day. And, even think about this. Think back to your food of what you ate either at lunch today, maybe KB, did you have some barbecue? Do you remember what you ate all day yesterday? Maybe this past weekend? Do you even remember that? And thank you, Richie. Yeah, I'll definitely keep it positive. That's what I do. If you're in here, man, I just love it. And Shadow, what's going on, buddy? Word up, partying peeps. Shadow, I love you, buddy. Welcome back, man. So, whenever you think about that, like, so kind of going through the quote unquote going through the motions, that's what we call not being mindful, right? So being mindful is being able to recognize things and having this focus of what you're doing, okay? And the reason why I bring this up is because of this saying, okay? Think about this whenever you're going through this. If you don't prioritize your life, okay, if you're not mindful and prioritize your life, someone else will. Okay? Let me say that again. If you don't prioritize your life, someone else will. Meaning that if you don't take responsibility for what's going on and you don't do something about it, if you're not mindful about it, someone else is going to take your time or something else. So
stuck in traffic, but I'm super positive about it.
That's what I'm talking about, Greg. I love it. I love it, Grunder. You always come in here and you always bring them, man. Thank you for the biddies, brother. And thank you for helping out Kids in Need. All bits goes toward Kids in Need with Extra Life. So 100% of the proceeds go towards it. So thank you, Grunder. So if you don't prioritize your life, someone else will. So here's a little something to think about, guys. And whenever you're talking about like how you can reach a goal and how you're kind of going through life and taking control of something, TSG, thank you for the host. Brother, thank you. I really appreciate that. Thank you for building the community. That's really awesome. So, whenever you're thinking about this, so guys, if you have like a sheet of paper around you or even don't, you can kind of imagine this. So, one thing to do, so I didn't come prepared, but I'll try to do this. But like, so on a sheet of paper, right? So there's a sheet of paper, okay? On it, draw a little line at the top of it that says goal, right? Goal. So this is what you want to do. And then at the bottom, draw 2 circles, right? So this is situation 1, this is situation 2. Okay? So you got this. You got one right here and one right here. Okay? On your first one, draw 10 little spokes that are coming out of there. Kind of makes it look like a sun, right? And draw arrows that are coming out of these. Okay? So it looks like you have basically like this ray of sun, right? Option 1. Okay? Right there. Now, on the second one, draw a 10-inch line and then draw an arrow at the end of that. Okay? So it should look like this. Situation 1, situation 2. Okay? Let me leave this up here for everybody to kind of take a look at. Okay? How many of you can relate to this in your life? Where you're sitting here and you're like, oh man, like this is more my life. I have the kids, I got or work or play or family or social media or Facebook or this person, my dog, like all these different things that are going on, right? You have these tons and tons of things going on around here, right? Tons of stuff. Whenever you're mindful and you start focusing on one thing at a time, because your mind literally like it can't do it. It can. Whenever people talk about multitasking, that means that they're good at switching tasks. It doesn't mean that they're doing 2 things at once. It literally means that they're good at switching tasks. If you focus on one task by taking the same amount of energy, right? So 10 1-inch lines right here, 1 10-inch line. Look how much closer you are to the goal. Okay, that right there is kind of like a visual of what mindfulness is. Like, how do you feel whenever you're going a million different directions? Do you feel good about it? Do you feel flustered? Do you feel busy? Maybe stressed? Maybe worried? Maybe something that, you look at and you're like, man, my life just feels like it's out of control. Okay? This is how mindfulness can come into your life and be a positive impact on you. It's something that if you're mindful of it, right, and you take the time to think about what's important, you're gonna go way further in everything that you're doing. You're gonna enjoy things more. You're gonna be gassy. What? KB? I'm not sure. Gassy? I'm not sure what that one is. Sorry, buddy. Got derailed. But so whenever you look at that, like a lot of times in our society, we have things that cater to us, but we don't even take the time to really ask the important questions. Only the ones that we're told. Gassy. Yeah, right, Katie. I don't know. Well, rip me. I have ADHD. Concentrating is the hard part. So, Nemo, fun fact. Like I understand. I understand that. I suffer from that as well. To a portion. So, one thing that I want to bring up though is that concentrating is very hard for ADHD, especially like take for instance. I know that names are really really hard for ADHD people and everything. And concentrating just really isn't, you almost have a lot of the times they say that you have to be doing 2 things at once for ADHD, right? You have to be chewing gum and then doing that along with something else because that helps you concentrate, right? And so being able to have this and possibly look at things like this, it's going to be able to help with that. I'm not saying that, obviously, that's not a cure. That's not something that's going to make it go away. I'm not saying that it's easy by any stretch of the imagination. But this is something that while you have that, you can still ask yourself, like, the questions, what's important to you, right? So even though that, like, concentrating on certain, like, tasks are hard, you can still have a goal or a life plan or something that that you feel is important, right? And then go make actions towards those. And that's what I'm kind of getting into a little bit. So I totally get that as far as for, like, concentrating on, like, particular items, for sure. And that's a difficult thing for you. I mean, that's going to be difficult for anybody with ADD, ADHD, any type of really any type of diagnosis that basically your mental state is having a hard time being able to actually connect, right? So I totally get that, man. I feel you. I feel for you. It's not the easiest thing to it's not the easiest thing to be able to not only want to talk about. So kudos to you for having the bravery to bring that up and talk about that, but also being able to conquer that disease. So kudos, man. You're a boss. And I'm sorry, KB, that you feel gassy. I'm sorry. It was probably from the barbecue. You should try eating a little bit more vegetarian and vegan, huh? Oh man, Jay would be all over you right now, I bet, for that. But so one thing that I would say is that could help out everybody, regardless of that, is sitting down and taking the time to really ask the important questions, like what's important, what's he pumped iron and got swole. Yeah, see, Henry Rollins. That's pretty impressive. That's kind of a crazy example. Thank you for that, Shadow. And so, like, dude is so freaking smart. That's awesome. Yeah, and so, like, that's something that, like, for him, doing something that's what was important to him, right? And so, if you sit down and do this, sit down and say, okay, here are my priorities in life. Like, when was the last time that a lot of people did that, right? I'll be honest. Excuse me. My wife and I normally do this once a year, and then kind of have, like, little checkups throughout the year. This year, we haven't done that. And I can tell you I feel much more scatterbrained that we haven't done that. And that's actually one of the reasons why I wanted to talk about this with everybody, because, like I normally did that. I've been doing that for a few years now, and it's really helped out. And then this year, it's almost like it's speaking to me, saying, like, hey, you need to get your act together, bud. Get it together a little bit. So there's no better time than to do that than now. So, I mean, even during this talk, sit there and think, what is important to me? Is it work? Is it family? Is it knowledge? Is it school? Is it a certain relationship? Whether that be with like with religion or with people, or is it being a great dad? So it's any one of those that can go on there, and start prioritizing those things. A lot of the times, if you use the 90% rule, so if you don't sit there and think, oh, this is kind of in that 90th percentile deal, put a scale of 0 to 10. So, like, anything that was basically from, like, a 0 to 5 is, like, that's not really all that important. Things from, like, 6 to 8, 8.5, 9 are like, do I really want to get rid of these or not? But, like, the 9 and the 10 are the things that are, like, huge. And those are the things that need to take priority. Like, if you're rating those things at 9 and 10s, those need to be the things that you need to focus on, and be sure to keep your sights on whenever you're doing it. So, by writing down what you prioritize and putting it somewhere to where, like, you can either see it every day or you can go back to it, not only will you be more focused, you'll also be more successful. So in a lot of different aspects, not only just in work, but in different goals that you have. And also, you're actually going to be more positive about how your life is going, because you can see these tangible effects that it has on it that says, hey, by the way, so I know, like, take for instance, I'm just using this because finances are a really easy thing to talk about numbers, right? Like, I want to save $100, or let's just call this, I want to save $120 by the end of the year, okay? I want to save that much by the end of the year. To do that, I need to save $10 a month. And whenever you do that, instead of having it be just like, oh, here's $10, I won't even recognize it. That's part of the goal. And by you seeing it every single day, like, oh man, like, I deposited that $10 in there. That's stinking awesome. Good on me. And that reinforces good behavior. So you're actually tricking your mind by saying, like, hey, this is good stuff, just by even like putting it into practice. And then that's just going to keep funneling that over and over and over, right? So some of the things that what you can do is like as far as for being mindful and what you and how you can increase mindfulness. So one is to escape. Okay, you need to create space to focus, concentrate, and strategize. So these are things like kind of going and having some me time, right? So where is it somewhere that you just feel super comfortable? Where is it? Is it outdoors? Is it on your rocking chair? Is it in the bedroom? Is it on a couch? Is it, is it over at a friend's house? Is it, where is this place that you want to go, that you can create space to focus, concentrate, and strategize? So first go there, because that way you can start. You're not going to have all these 1,000 distractions. And I know this is going to be hard. Do not use your phone. Don't use your phone. Put that thing down. Because whenever you use your phone or you put on, like, take for instance this, like earbuds or anything else, you're not allowing, you're dulling your senses and you're minimizing your window of your creativity, and you need to be able to open that up. So go to somewhere where you can feel relaxed. There's not, like TV, computer monitor, phone, music, dog barking in the background, like, all these things down. So I use my phone to make lists. KB, then turn off all your alerts, okay? Either that or get a pen and paper like a normal person. Besides that, you're the oldest one in the room. I know that you have a pen and paper, all right? You may be you may be IT, but I'm calling you out on that. Puts phone down frantically, right, Katie? So do that. Take some time to just get away from everything and to be able to focus on something. And really just, it's not really necessarily like getting down to focus. It's really eliminating the things that keep you from that. It's taking away things. So every time I go to my quiet place, my chair takes over. Dang chair, got more follows me. I forgot about that shadow. Did you like that? Every time that you left, we gave bennies to the chair. Pen and paper, no swearing. Right? Yes, KB. Oh, snap. You just said it, though, KB. So, pen and paper. Pen and paper. So, another thing that you can do is play. So, right? Which is engage in activity for joy versus a means to an end. Okay? So, think about this, because I know sometimes, like, whenever I'm bored, I will go and play something just so that I can overcome my boredom for the next, hour or two, right? Go and do something that is something that is enjoyable for you. Like, you want to go there and you're like, you know what? I want to go snipe some people's faces with Widowmaker in Overwatch. I want to do this. Or I want to go and do this really awesome thing and draw. Or I want to go and play a sport. Or I want to go and run. Said no one ever. But anyway, like, engage in some sort of activity for joy versus a means to an end, if that makes sense. So do it from something that's coming from in here, not from like a, oh, I kind of have to need, right? Because that's filling, and that's like filling a void. That's not filling your cup, if that makes sense. Kind of, maybe not really. That came out wrong, but you get what I mean. So another one is sleep and eat. Right? The most important asset that you have, guys, the most important asset that you will ever have throughout your entire life. You want to know what it is? It's your body. It's your body and your mind. It's your body and mind. Okay? Get good sleep. Your body in the ability to prioritize and choose what you want to do. Like, those two things are huge, okay? You need sleep and you need good food. If you sit there and you eat junk food all the time, your body's going to be junk and you're not going to be able to, it's going to wear you down. If you don't get enough sleep, if you stay up late every single night and get up early every single morning, there's a reason why the term is burning the candle at both ends, because eventually your wick's going to go down to nothing. Like, you can't perform. Like, how many of you, whenever you did something, you stayed up late and then the very next day you had to give this presentation, then all of a sudden you have this huge crash, you feel a little loopy, everything. I know whenever I did my 25-hour stream for Extra Life, I was loopy beyond belief. Whenever that happened this last year. If you came in during my 25th hour, I wasn't even speaking right. So it's crazy. So be sure to sleep and eat. That is going to be able to keep your toolkit sharp, right? It's going to keep it in line so that you can move forward and be mindful about everything going on in your life. Okay? It was amazing. It's play games. Don't play Hellblade. I feel more stressed when the day started. Dude, Shadow, that game looked crazy, okay? That game looked straight up nuts. And yes, Nemo running in 2017. Debated. That's why I like these talks. Now I'm gonna eat. Nice. You have to let me know what you're eating, Shadow. Have to let me know. And kind of like what I was talking earlier, select. Okay? So escape, play, sleep and eat, select. Okay, whenever you select something, apply the 90% rule. If you wouldn't give it a 9 out of 10 or above on the importance factor, you need to focus on those things first. Okay, I get that sometimes you're not always going to have time for those, like, oh, I'm waiting on this thing to happen before I can do this. Like, that's fine. And then go ahead and go to the next deal, but always look at the 90% rule, because here's a little tidbit for you. Knowledge comes from adding something. Okay, knowledge comes from adding something. Wisdom comes from subtracting things from your life. Okay, knowledge comes from adding something to your life. Wisdom comes from subtracting things from your life. Okay, so like that's what's going on. Okay, so whenever you're sitting there and you're adding different things, like, hey, I learned this, I learned this. That's Chicken Slayer. Thank you for the host, dog. Thank you. I just grilled up some chicken breast. Ooh, that looks good. Had to check. Thought it was oh yeah, the chicken breast. Nice. I get it. The mod had to get you for that breast word. I got you. Nice. That sounds good. Knowledge. So yes, yeah, knowledge, right, instead of knowledge. But wisdom, being able to take things out, that's being able to prioritize your life and be able to know what's important, right? So whenever you have wisdom, you're able to discern and have discipline about what's important in your life, and you can make huge strides towards things. The people that I'll talk about. Here. I'll talk about Steve Jobs here in a little bit. That'll go on to that. But so how to do this, right? Like, what are some tangible things that you guys can do as far as for, like, escaping, playing, sleep and eat, selecting. What are some things? So First thing, be bonkers. No, I'm not. No, I'm just joking. Don't be bonkers. But be bonkers and create a buffer. Okay? If you're anything like me, you normally stack things up during the day. Okay? Literally, I had this last week. Okay? Last week, if you remember, whenever I was coming on here, I had a little bit of a rough day at work. Rough day. And it was because I felt like I didn't have control of my schedule, and that's because I had meetings from 10 all the way until 3 o'clock p.m., and they were just back to back to back. So literally I had it from 10 to 11, 11 to 12, 12 to 1, 1 to 2, 2 to 3, right? And they were all different meetings. 10 to 11 and 11 to 12, I'm late to that next meeting. There is no way. Or I have to leave early from the next one, okay? That's not a buffer. That's being rude to 1 or 2 people, and I have to choose. And that shouldn't be the case. Create a buffer in there from doing different things. Like, let's say that you have this going on at this time and this going on at this time. Give yourself a buffer. You're literally, like, just take some time to just be you. Like, taking that time and being able to, Kitty's on the bong train, bonk. Nice. Newfie, take some time. Like, just add a little buffer in there so that you can sit there and go over what you just learned, what you just talked about, and have that be in your brain, because whenever you go to something and then have that type of schedule, I don't remember what happened in those meetings to begin with. I'll be honest, I have no idea. I couldn't even tell you what we talked about because I am just not with it. I am somehow off on a different place that basically sits there and says, hey, by the way, like, you had this meeting over here, but now you're in this meeting, so you have to concentrate on what's going on now without remembering what was in the past because you have limited brain space. And so it's just, you're not going to be able to do it. So, like, think about this. So here's a fun fact. Steve Jobs, right? So this is, again, wisdom comes from subtracting things from your life. Steve Jobs. This man took a 2-month sabbatical every year. Every year that he worked, he took a 2-month sabbatical. That's about the equivalent of 1 hour a day dedicating to just being away from it all. You know what he did during his sabbatical? He literally did nothing. He read books. He wasn't even on technology. Steve Jobs didn't have technology with him. He sat around, thought up different ideas, thought about creative things, and look what happened, right? Now, it does beg the question now, like, was this because Steve Jobs that he could do this, or is it because, like, is this because what made him famous to be the Steve Jobs that we know, right? So giving this, obviously that's kind of like the chicken before the egg, which one hatched first. But think about this. Like, one, you can obviously take stock that it's important, because if Steve Jobs is willing to take time to be able to do this every single year, a man who quite literally everybody knows, probably worth it. He probably did some research into this and probably knew, hey, by the way, I need to go ahead and wait for a minute and be able to come up with these different ideas and take some time to myself. So take some buffers, man. Try and be bored. Like, creativity is at its peak when you're bored. That's the truth, man. Whenever you are bored and you have to try and come up with something, I'm sitting here thinking about the times that I was back whenever I lived in little old Peculiar, Missouri. That's right. Throwback to that little old town. Only town in all of America that was named that, right? There is nothing around that town. My nearest neighbor was over a mile away. And not only that, the one to my right, I didn't even like. He was an odd dude. But as an only child out in the middle of nowhere, I had to figure some stuff out. I had to be creative, okay? And whenever I was bored, that's whenever I would come up with these awesome stories and these games that I would play and these creations in the sandbox and all this other stuff that looking back, I was like I'd probably be like, wow, like this kid's got some stuff going. But then again, I would also, do really stupid stuff, and then it would bring me back down quite a bit of pegs. But guys, just remember, create a buffer, create some time for you, okay? To be able to have that creativity, to be mindful, to think about what's important, okay? The second one that's in here, there is power in the word no, okay? And I know that a lot of times you do not want to say that word, right? No has like this stigma that you're just like, why would I say no? Like, that's kind of bad. I'm letting someone down, or I'm telling someone something that they don't want to hear. But how many times have you been told no and then did never get over it? Like, I mean, besides, like the really awesome, Christmas present that you didn't get, I wanted ballerina Barbie and I got Malibu Barbie, or like hey, I asked for this from Santa and I never ever got it and I've always wanted it and I never got it, besides obviously kind of that joking aside, like, when has someone told you no and then it was just like forever, like, that's my life, just can't go on, whenever it's something that I mean, obviously there are some no's that are like, I want to say like that have to do with like health and stuff like that maybe have a little bit of differency on it. But I'm talking about like whenever someone asks for your time or like a favor or something like that, or a bit, or like a, hey, can you do this for me type thing? No, like you can tell people no if you use the soft no approach, right? So this is kind of the thing, the power in the word no. And so whenever you do that, you can tell people no with the soft no approach by like basically start with what you want to do, right? So if someone says, hey, by the way, can you do this for me? Like, hey, I'd love to, right? Or yeah, I would like to do that for you, and start off like the immediate reaction to it, and then say, hey, by the way, I'd really like to do this. I have a prior commitment that I have to go to, but can we try and work something out? So yeah, do that. Oh, awesome. Hey, by the way, Chicken Slayer, hi, how are you? Don't diss Malibu Barbie, I won't, KB. What's up, chicken? When I asked Smash Memes. Nice. I'm smart? Yes. And Big Ronnie, what's up? How are you? How are you, Big Ronnie? Smart. And Corey is in here. Corey in the house. Nice. But yeah, guys, like there's definitely a power in the word no, right? And so whenever you do that, I know that even sometimes, so some of you may be sitting here thinking like, well, what about if a boss tells me, right? What if a boss tells me? So here's something you can use, language that I've used that has gone incredibly successful. Big Ronnie. So whenever you do that, you can go on there. You can go on there and say, hey, people like, explain the priority list. So you should just ask your boss, like, start with what you want to do and maybe ask what you should deprioritize. So if you're sitting there saying like, hey, by the way, hey, you asked me to do this, but I have something else going on. Hey, by the way, I have these two things going on. Which one should I deprioritize for you? So that way you can still say no and still, go ahead and say, hey, you know what? Here's something that we can do. Here's something that we can't do. Which would you rather have me do? So that type of thing. So, because if you can be clear about your intent and remove obstacles, you can achieve anything, right? There is anything that you can do. Anything. So it's pretty stinking awesome, guys. And that right there is your positivity talk right there, coming at you strong. And so be sure to do that. Just remember, guys, buffer, power in the word no. And so just be sure to go ahead and, sleep and eat, all those great things. So, but yeah, that's really stinking awesome. So yeah, guys, thank you so much for coming. And Caitlin coming down. I knew it. I saw it on there.